Continuing from the last episode, let's talk about how trade protectionism backfires on AI hardware. The tariff policies initiated during the Trump era and possibly intensified later, especially tariffs on steel and aluminum, were originally intended to protect domestic industries, but from actual operation results, this instead weakened the United States' competitiveness in AI hardware manufacturing. This is an economic paradox. Taking the aluminum industry as an example, U.S. domestic primary aluminum capacity is severely insufficient, with 85% of demand relying on imports, mainly from Canada. Imposing high tariffs on imported aluminum directly led to U.S. domestic aluminum prices premium relative to the international market. Aluminum giant Alcoa not only did not significantly expand production due to tariff protection, but instead was extremely cautious about restarting idle capacity due to high power costs and policy uncertainty. We can sort out the transmission effect of tariff policies on the industrial chain. Pato, in the upstream, raw materials linked steel and aluminum tariffs led to soaring domestic raw material prices and transmitted to downstream through long-term agreements, directly causing cost increases in server racks, cooling modules, and robot structural parts in the midstream manufacturing link. To protect domestic smelters, but due to lack of cheap electricity, leading to inability to effectively expedite chain dependent on high-price imports or even shortages. Bird. In the downstream application link, trade barriers cause terminal products, such as automobiles and equipment, to lose international price competitiveness, ultimately increasing AI hardware deployment costs and dragging down the construction speed of computing power centers. The United States tries to force manufacturing reshoring through tariffs, but ignores a key premise: manufacturing is a high port-consuming industry. Alcoa clearly stated that to make U.S. domestic smelters globally competitive, it needs long-term stable power contracts of about $30 per megawatt hour. However, current U.S. industrial electricity prices are generally in the $60 to $100 range and trending upward. Without cheap electricity, there is no competitive basic materials industry. Without a basic materials industry, the manufacturing costs of AI servers, cooling equipment, and robot bodies cannot decrease. This is a vicious cycle. The U.S. tariff policy is actually taxing its own AI hardware construction, which is a huge disadvantage in low-cost competition with China. Finally, based on the above in-depth analysis, let's talk about investment strategy, how to find alpha between foam and ruins. First, for the green foam, that is the wind and solar sector, we need to highlight risks. Our view is biased toward caution. The big bull market in the past few years was built on the perfect assumption of low interest rates, high subsidies, unlimited demand. However, with the upward shift in the interest rate center, the emergence of grid absorption bottlenecks, and the exposure of system costs, pure wind and solar developers and component manufacturers face valuation correction risks, especially those companies dependent on manufacturing links without core technology barriers will face fierce competition from the Chinese industrial chain and dual strikes from U.S. domestic grid connection delays. If future policy orientation shifts to more emphasis on grid reliability, forcing wind and solar projects to be equipped with high amounts of energy storage facilities, their internal rates of return will be significantly compressed. Second, we need to pay attention to gold under the ruins. That is, the value revaluation of fossil energy. For us, the fossil energy sector, abandoned by the ESG wave, is in a value depression. There are two key points here. One is natural gas, which is the only life-saving straw in the short term. In the context of slow nuclear power construction and expensive energy storage, natural gas power generation that can respond quickly and provide stable power is the only choice to keep the U.S. grid from collapsing. For the explosive rigid demand for all-day uninterrupted power from AI data centers, companies with high-quality natural gas reserves and pipeline infrastructure will usher in a Davis double-click of volume and price rise. Natural gas is no longer a transitional energy, but the life-saving energy in the AI era. The other is coal, which is the afterglow under the setting sun. Although coal will inevitably exit in the long term, in the short to medium term of 3 to 5 years, due to the huge power gap, coal-fired power plants originally planned for retirement are likely to be extended. This expected reversal will bring excess cash flow to coal companies, and at current extremely low valuations, the marginal benefits brought by this extension are obvious. Of course, there's the ultimate track of long slope and thick snow. Nuclear energy revival. Nuclear energy is the most certain piece in the future energy puzzle for existing nuclear power operators. Because new nuclear power is too slow, existing nuclear power plant assets are money printing machines. Through life extension, these power plants can continue to operate for 20 years at extremely low marginal costs. Tech giants, like Microsoft and Amazon, have begun to buy nuclear power at premiums, which means the pricing logic of nuclear power assets will shift from public utility to scarce computing power resource. At the same time, with the acceleration of global, especially Chinese, nuclear power construction and supply chain reconstruction caused by geopolitics, the long-term supply-demand gap in upstream uranium resources will benefit related mining companies. Finally, about the robot sector, investors need to distinguish between concepts and landing. Although there are national strategies and Musk's grand blueprint, large-scale commercialization. More importantly, if there is a lack of cheap power support, the vision of tens of billions of robots will become a nightmare for the grid. It is recommended to focus on companies with technological monopoly advantages in core components, such as actuators and sensors, rather than complete machine factories that merely use this as a gimmick. To summarize, investment in the AI era can not only stare at code in the cloud, but must look down at the land, pipelines, and cables underfoot. Energy is no longer just a public utility, it is the currency of computing power and the cornerstone of national competitiveness. Future winners will belong to those companies that can provide stable, cheap, large-scale energy. Ponder this logic. We suggest everyone pay attention to 4 core directions. First, infrastructure companies with cross-regional natural gas pipeline networks. Second, public utility companies holding operating nuclear power assets with life extension potential. Third, leading mining companies on the left side of the uranium supply cost curve. Fourth, global leaders with ultra-high voltage grid equipment manufacturing capabilities. First, let's look at the first direction. Infrastructure companies with cross-regional natural gas pipeline networks. These companies are like highway operators in the energy world and will usher in a golden era under the explosive demand for stable power from AI data centers. Natural gas is the key energy to maintain grid stability in the short term. These companies can provide opportunities for volume and price rise. But don't forget, commodity price fluctuations and regulatory changes are potential risks. The first company is DIT Midstream, stock code DTMA. This company's market cap is about $12.36 billion. Forward price to earnings ratio around 22.08 times, and year-to-date return reached 25.23%. Growth potential is strong. It recently raised adjusted EBITDA guidance. Third quarter performance was strong. Analysts are optimistic about its natural gas demand growth driven by data centers, expecting continued improvement in EBITDA and cash flow. However, investment risks include declining profit margins that may challenge its bull market narrative and uncertainty from industry. Medium ratings. Next is Antero Midstream code AM. For market cap, about $8.8 billion. Forward price to earnings ratio 12.92 times. Year-to-date return 29.12%. Its growth potential lies in expansion in the Appalachian Basin and data center natural gas demand. Analysts expect EBITDA growth over 15%, stable earnings with dividend growth, but risks lie in dependence on single customers and natural gas price fluctuations. Morgan Stanley maintains underweight rating with target price only $20. The third, Hess Midstream code HESM, market cap $7.188 billion. Forward price to earnings ratio 9.91 times, but year-to-date return only 0.26%. Growth potential comes from third quarter revenue and earnings exceeding expectations, strong operations, attractive dividend growth, strong EBITDA support. Risks not specifically pointed out in content, but high debt and merger integration issues may be hidden dangers. The fourth, Genesis Energy, code GL, market cap $1.97 billion, forward price to earnings, ratio not provided, year-to-date return as high as 67.06%. Growth potential lies in Gulf Coast project expansion with huge cash flow potential, but risks include high debt and weather disruptions. Recent news is scarce need to be alert to negative EPS's growth. The last one, Enlink Midstream, code ENLC, Specific data on it is scarce, but from similar companies, it has cross-regional networks in midstream. Natural gas, reasonable valuation, growth potential depends on Permian Basin expansion, but risks include customer concentration and emission regulations, suggest investors further verify latest developments. Now we turn to the second direction. Public utility companies holding operating nuclear power assets with life extension potential. These companies are beneficiaries of nuclear energy revival. Existing nuclear power plants are like money printing machines, able to run for 20 years at low costs, especially in the context of tech giants like Microsoft buying nuclear power. But regulatory barriers and high capital expenditures are risks. The first, Energy, code NRG, market cap $315.29 billion, forward price to earnings ratio 19.49 times, year-to-date return 83.13%. Huge growth potential, data center transactions, drive EPS's growth, over 10% nuclear life extension. But risks include natural gas price fluctuations and high debt. Policy changes may affect renewable energy transition. The second, Pinnacle West Capital, PNW market, cap $105.53 billion, forward price to earnings, ratio 18.18 times, year-to-date return 8.27%. Growth potential from 2025, EPS upgrade and data center sales growth. Palo Verde nuclear life extension is a highlight, but risks lie in profit margins dropping to 11% negative free cash flow and Arizona regulatory delays. The third, Talon Energy Code TRN market cap $161.8 billion, forward price to earnings ratio 22.78 times, year-to-date return 75.83%. Strong growth potential, successful acquisitions, and data center cooperation drive FCF growth over 35%. Scarce nuclear assets, but risks include high debt and fossil fuel exposure. Argus rating holds with low growth sub-rating. The fourth, Vistra Corp, code IVST, market cap $566.41 billion. Forward price to earnings ratio 22.32 times, year-to-date return 21.75%. Growth potential driven by AI and electrification. Trends, new power agreements and demand explosion. Strong long-term growth, but risks include insider selling and high debt-to-equity ratio, 335.78%. Argus suggests hold the fifth, Entergy code ETR, market cap $420.8 billion, forward price to earnings ratio 21.41 times, year-to-date return 27.77%. Growth potential in Gulf Coast industrial and data center growth, nuclear life extension 20 years. But risks include negative free cash flow minus $32.6 billion and total debt to equity 179.36%. Citimpedal maintains neutral rating. The third direction, leading mining companies on the left side of the uranium supply cost curve. These low-cost producers benefit from uranium price rises about $80 per pound and nuclear revival, but many are in development stage. Risks include no revenue and market fluctuations. The first, Uranium Energy Code UEC, market cap $6.65 billion, price to sales ratio 88.05 in loss. Year-to-date return 105.68%. Growth potential from uranium price surge and Ijarn mine restart, NAVOB up 30%, production ramp up, but risks include dilution, uranium price fluctuations, and negative profit margin minus 131.15%. PI, the second energy, fuels, code U, market cap $3.704 billion, forward price to earnings, ratio 212.77 times, year-to-date return 205.48%, growth potential in uranium production ramp up, and 2026 guidance, diversified rare earths. But risks include Roth Capital downgrade to sell and negative profit margin minus 124.17%. The third, Denison Mines, code DNN, market cap $2.459 billion, price to sales ratio 703.93. Year-to-date return 48.91%. Growth potential from Wheeler River Estorm project and uranium demand, but risks include no revenue permitting delays and dilution. The fourth, NextGen Energy, code NXE, market cap $6.159 billion, No forward price to earnings, in loss. Year-to-date return 40.87%. Growth potential in Rook I high-grade uranium and market momentum, but risks include net loss, insider selling, and negative robbery E minus 31.24%. The fifth, Energy, code URG, market cap $5.19175 billion. Forward price to earnings ratio 50.51 times. Year-to-date return 22.12%. Growth potential from loss creep production and uranium price leverage, but risks include quarterly losses expanding and operational pressure, worsening net loss rate 32.5%. The last direction, global leaders with ultra-high voltage grid equipment manufacturing capabilities. These companies benefit from grid modernization and renewable energy, but supply chain issues and policy changes are risks. The first Quanta Services, code PRR, market cap $686.9 billion, forward price to earnings, ratio 33.44 times, year-to-date return 45.92%, growth potential from infrastructure boom and data centers, revenue growth $9 to $10 billion, but risks include project delays and inflation. The second Meyer Group, code MYRG, market cap $3.55 billion. No forward price to earnings. Year-to-date, return 53.62%. Growth potential in data centers and raredues. Revenue growth 8%, but risks include execution and supply chain issues. The third mast, code MTZ, market cap $173.2 billion. Forward price to earnings ratio 27.70 times. Year-to-date return 61.25%. Growth potential from record backlog and clean energy expansion. Revenue growth 8%. But risks include high beta 1.94 and debt to equity 87.10%. The fourth, Powell Industries. Code Powell. Market cap $4.14 billion. Forward price to earnings ratio 20.88 times. Year-to-date return 55.08%. Growth potential from data center capex and diversification. Record profits. But risks include Argus low safety, sub-breening, and potential growth slowdown. Pi the fifth, AZZ Int, code AZZ, market cap $3.16 billion, forward price to earnings, ratio 18.76 times, year-to-date return 29.39%, growth potential from efficiency improvements and sales growth 10%, but risks include tariffs and market weakness. Wells Fargo lowered target price. Well, that's all for this report. I hope everyone can jump out of single linear thinking and find those real opportunities masked by cognitive biases in the complex game of energy transition. The above content is for informational sharing only and does not constitute investment advice. Thank you for your attention and companionship.